On Monday night in the world capital of space exploration, there was a benches clearing incident between the Houston Astros and the Seattle Mariners. No punches were necessarily thrown, and it didn't really get out of hand, so of course it wasn't a brawl or anything crazy, but the two sides were clearly heated. Guys were getting thrown at, people were getting in each other's faces, and it was a pretty big altercation. Just one day prior, Astros reliever Ryan Presley got ejected after throwing inside to Royals hitter Michael A. Taylor. The umpires immediately all got together and discussed if it was intentional or not, and this got Presley heated enough to be ejected by the home plate umpire Vic Carapazza. The Astros went on to win the game, but it was a pretty unnecessary meeting by the umpires and ejection by Carapazza, and the Astros were not happy about it. For some context as to why the umpires may have thought it was intentional, 3 Astros hitters were plunked in that same series. After the game, Astros reliever Phil Maton said that they can't have their guys getting plunked like that, and he feels Presley had the Astros back. But overall, it was an infuriating situation for Dusty Baker's team, and I'm sure some of that frustration went into their incident with the Mariners. But regardless, there's some important history there that led to what took place on Monday night. To partly understand why the bench is cleared between these two teams, you gotta go back to last year, and Dusty Baker knows it, as he mentioned how it appears there's some bad blood brewing from last year. It's the beginning of summertime, and tolerance becomes short at summertime in his eyes, causing more tempers to flare. In a game last season, Dylan Moore took Astros reliever Brooks Raley deep for a grand slam late in the game to give the Mariners the lead. The very next hitter, J.P. Crawford, then caught a couple pitches inside thrown at him before getting hit up and in. The Mariners were pissed, especially manager Scott Service, yelling at the Astros dugout, with Astros coach Omar Lopez screaming right back, and the two had some things to say to each other. This is important for the most recent altercation. Brooks Raley ended up actually getting suspended for 3 games by the league for what he did, and Dusty Baker for 1. Now, let's get back to the current day. On Monday night in Houston in the 5th inning, Mariners starter Robbie Ray almost hit Kyle Tucker with a pitch. Later in the game, Ty France had a pitch thrown at his back, and that's when the fireworks began. Scott Service started screaming toward the Astros dugout, they screamed back, Service started to run out, and the benches emptied. Service and Astros coach Omar Lopez got in each other's faces, with Dusty Baker really showing a lot of his anger toward Dylan Moore, the man who of course hit the grand slam last year. As you can see, this incident really had a little more to do with the coaching staff on both sides rather than the players. Obviously, the players aren't necessarily friends and they do have their coaches' backs, but the coaches were the ones chirping and really what led to all of this. What happened in the very next at-bat preceding this incident was awesome, at least for Mariners fans it was, as Julio Rodriguez hit a 2-run home run to right field and he was fired up going around the bases. But it wasn't all done. After walking the next hitter up, J.P. Crawford, Hector Neris then threw behind the head of Eugenio Suarez. Now, whether intentional or not, the umpires got together and decided to eject Neris from the ballgame. Same with Dusty Baker. The Mariners didn't choose to retaliate in the bottom of the inning and ended up winning the game 7-4. But after the game, both sides had some stuff to say. Dusty denied any intent on the pitches thrown near the Mariners hitters, but Scott Service was having none of it, saying it was pretty clear he threw behind Ty France, that they had nothing to do with whatever happened to them the day before in Kansas City, and he thought it was clear he threw the ball behind him on purpose, especially when Neris has walked just 5 guys all year. France is their best hitter with 2 outs in the 9th, and they throw the first pitch behind him. To Service, it was obviously intentional. Regardless if it was intentional or not, there is clearly some serious beef between these two teams, and the next several games that the Mariners and Astros play each other in should be pretty interesting. Let me know what you think about all this, and thank you for watching.